How's it going, everyone? Equinox Cynics here, and today we are gonna talk about um, Doctor Who season 2, episode 5, titled "The Story and the Engine." I think I actually effed up the intro last week with the episode numbering, but anyway, this episode is interesting in that hold on. I still have the page open. No, I don't. Okay. Anyway, this episode is interesting in that it takes place in the cold open. That's what has me confused. I think. Uh you know what? Yeah, I have it muted. Yeah, okay. So it's one scene. This episode has us we have the cold open. So let's talk about that. We are in a barber shop as people are telling stories. They seem to be very nervous as they're telling the stories because as they do so, um, what's the word? There's a light in the back, right? That they look very like nervously at. It goes from red to green, and they seem to be relieved when it turns green, which is weird, but okay. Anyway, the Doctor and Belinda are still using the Vindicator and whatnot. So they land in Lagos, Nigeria, in 2019. And after the Vindicator stuff is done, ding, here's our point of entry. The Doctor tells Belinda a bit of a introspective point for him. He is a man who's had many bodies, right? Many looks, many faces. We know this. The trouble is, um, people treat him differently in his current body because, as we know, lots of people have the big thumb and will judge a person based on intrinsic characteristics that really don't tell you much outside of, hey, this is just a trait, right? It doesn't tell you anything about the actual person. You know, as we know, if you were a bigot, you're not the sharpest tool in the shed, or the brightest bulb for that matter. You got a sharpness and brightness of less than zero, sadly. But that is a discussion for another day. But that he enjoys places like Nigeria because he feels welcome and at home. Which I mean, fair. Belinda shares that her grandmother would take her to India for much the same reason. Which again, fair. Um, what can you do? Right? We are in the life and we are. Uh, you could just see in like the camera. It's so funny. Right, if I like put my arm in a shadow, you could see where it gets like really pale over here where the sun never reaches. Anyway, she tells him to go, right? Go enjoy yourself, kind of thing, and she stays in the TARDIS, right? So he goes and says hi to a bunch of people, and it's this whole really nice like couple of scenes. But then something strange is happening. We end up in an abandoned street with signs that say "Stay away" and stuff, and it's like, So he goes to his friend Omo, this barber, from this. Hey, and we find out, you know, or well, we have known for now, because we've been told pretty much that Omo was saved by the Doctor many years ago, and they've been friends ever since. Now, the Doctor goes into the barbershop, and it locks, and yeah, everyone seems to be afraid. And we finally meet the Baba, who is using the power of stories to power something or other, right? He's using the power of stories for some reason. Now, we also meet Avena, who the Doctor recognizes, but he's unsure why. We know what this means. Um, so, story time. The Doctor gets put in the chair, and oh dear lord, it's not good. Now, he tells a story of a regular day, specifically one of Belinda's regular days. Now, um, within this story is when Mrs. Flood shows up, just getting meds. I'm like, what? Huh? Y'all remember last week when I was like, look, we don't want Susan 2.0. Right. We want like an actual explanation as to what the fuck is going on. Yeah, we're still on Susan 2.0, except worse. Cuz this time she's not constantly making contact with the Doctor and the companion repeatedly. So they're like, "Hey, wait a minute." The only time she ever makes contact with any of them is in the modern day with Belinda specifically. Something's up. Now more theories are flying around, and it's on the internet, but we don't discuss those theories unless they're an idea I have or share or whatever. Y'all can watch other content creators for other people's theories. That's their thing. Anyway, so with the story, she shows up. Sorry, it's 5 a.m. Anyway, the story finishes, and it's like, oh, interesting. All this fancy things. Now, Belinda is having like a crisis in the TARDIS because it keeps going red. Like it's making more or less that sound, like it's like a warning. And like everything goes red, and it's such as the scene we saw in the preview that was posted like yesterday. which is hilarious. Ooh. Now, um, oh, y'all ever get that moment when you need to sneeze, but your body just won't? Because that's what I'm feeling right now. Anyway, now Belinda's like, TARDIS, show me what is going on. She's like, and so it's like, what's the source? And then it shows orb shops. She's like, what? So she goes out and gets swarmed by people. And then they stop swarming her when she says she has no money, which is, it was a weird scene. We went from wholesome, just welcoming, hey, hugs and all of this with the Doctor to with Belinda, like that one requires that like look requires like they're just giving her looks and it's like, okay, is this because she's aged or because she has no money? Because the Doctor has no money, so it's probably not the no money thing. Now, man, it's it's an ordeal, right? Now, she's then left to go uh on her way, and she sees a kid. Anyway, she makes it to the bar shop and opens the door. The Doctor and Belinda hug it out, hey. Uh, Now, in the chaos that ensues, the Doctor realizes who Abena is. Abena is Anansewa, the daughter of Anansi, the spider. Um, Now, this revelation comes after the barber tries and fails to say he's this like list of various deities, and Belinda and the Doctor laugh it off because he's like, no, 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 we've met those guys. You are definitely not that. And it turns out he was some kind of storyteller or of sorts, connected to the gods, and he wants vengeance. Right now, when the Doctor realizes who Abena really is, she reveals her motives, which is because the Doctor left her. Into the scene, enter the fugitive Doctor. And she says, back then I was a fugitive. We see Jo Martin, and I'm like, oh, let's go. Right? Because I love the Jo Martin Doctor. Like that iteration, that life was, oh, honey, I'm the Doctor was probably the best line ever. Uh from the 12 from the what would it be, the 13th, right? That's like the best line of the 13th Doctor's like era in the last season, and it's just a hologram to the Master, and I'm just like, let's go. Anyway, yeah, so we get to see Jo Martin again for like a scene or two, a couple seconds. And this eventually causes a change of heart within Avena, and she tells a story to the Doctor as he's in the chair about how slaves couldn't hold paper, and so they learned to tell stories with hair. And she essentially gives a route to the engine room into the Doctor's hair, right? Like she just kind of which I loved watching. That was actually really cool. Now the Doctor Belina then boom create a scene and they run off towards the engine room. The barber gets upset because of course he gets upset. Um, and revokes Abena's access to the door to the outside world, which is weird. Um, and they head for the engine room, and then heads to follow the Doctor and Belinda to the engine room, wherein Belinda has pulled a couple of cords out, and the Doctor has connected himself to the engine room. Stories to power. So when the barber's like, "Ha! You did nothing," the Doctor responds with, "You're a fan of Hemingway. I met him. I had him tell me the shortest story possible. He did it in 6 words." And then the Doctor proceeds to repeat what was said. I'm born and I die. I am born and I die. 6 words. And this creates like this weird like it creates this weird like feedback loop, throws the barber to the wall, and then we see scenes of the various previous Doctors. Boom, 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 boom. Archival footage is what it's what it is. It's footage from of the one Christmas story on the Space Titanic of 10 being like, I am 900 and I think it was 906 or 907, something like that, years old. We see, the first, the third, the second, the 11th. We see the Zygons invasion speech from 12. We see 12 describing like what she does, not 12, 13. We see, a whole host of scenes from all of the various iterations of the Doctor, and a never-ending story, many lifetimes. 15 describes it as a whole host of voices, just back and forth with their stories in his head, which actually sounds pretty cool, as like a defense for telepathy, but also like, oh boy, that's probably gonna suck. Anyway, this would inevitably overload the ship's engines, because it's missing a third of the wires. Now the Doctor does and Belinda do convince him to let everyone go, and everyone manages at the last second to escape. But the crazy spider thing that the barber shop was supposedly on but not, tries to come out, and boom, it gets pulled back in and just seals shut. No more temporal distortions, temporal spatial distortions, and all is well. The barber says, I have no name for people to trust. Which, hey, it is what it is, right? Now, all is well. And the Dr. Belinda go off, right? Off into the sunset. Belinda asks, tell me, how did you meet Omo? And so he, as the episode ends, he says, well, once upon a time, boom. We don't hear the rest, of course, because he closes the door. And the credits roll. Oh boy. Oof. 19 minutes. Anyway, this episode was interesting. I'm sat here being like, oh no, his name's Thebaba. I'm like, is he gonna show? Is he gonna become one of them pantheon of gods peoples? Like, are we gonna hear the giggle? And I'm like on the edge of my seat, like nervous. I'm like, please, not the giggle, not the giggle, not the giggle, not the giggle, right? Oh no! Like I'm like afraid he's gonna start doing the giggle, and it went through the entire episode without. Turns out this is a guy who he's a normal guy who somehow gained immortality, which fair, fair, absolutely fair, right? Absolutely fair. Um, I will take just a normal person. Obviously, although also in fairness, it we didn't have anything that could be turned into Harbinger, like the movie title, Harriet, that one kid. So anyway, it should be noted the doctor didn't cry. What a world we live in, where the doctor not crying is an actual. Oh, let's go. I used to have a scene where we could go, or it had like confetti cannons, like digital confetti cannons, but I no longer have it, so I can't switch to it. But yeah, it is it's an achievement. We went a whole episode with the doctor in it with no tears. Oh, what a world we live in. The oncoming storm was actually a raging storm this week. Let's go. Anyway, overall, I'd say this episode was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. We got the return of Joe Martin and everybody else, which was great, even if it was just archival footage for most of them. Uh, Unfortunately, still no. Who the heck is Mrs. Flood? We still don't know. But I am a patient man, and we still have 3 more episodes. Oh. Oh boy. That is not good. But you know what? We shall wait and see. You can get to hear my full disappointment in the episode 8 review in 3 weeks. Anyway, tell me what you guys thought of the episode down in the comment section down below. That's gonna be it for this video. If you guys haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe if you're new. I will see you guys next time, and as always, stay bright.